Hi David, well there she is. The chassis is finished and looking very, very lovely. It's all, we've gone as far as we can with this now. But all the welding is done obviously and it's painted and reassembled now. You've got all your front suspension is rebuilt, refurb, parts replaced, this, that and the other. You've got new bushes in the lower A arms. We went again with the original ones in the tops. They'd been replaced not that long ago by the looks of it, and they were very, very good. We've reused your front shocks, they all felt okay, and we've put new upper and lower ball joints in. Got new A-arm shims in there. I think they always look very nice than the old ones. New steel brake lines in there and stainless steel clips. All looks very good. New sway bar bushes, new link kit, new front flexes on the calipers, and we've also put new pads in them as well. And the calipers seem fine, so we're just going to go with those as they are. You've got the power steering set up now, of course, with new hoses in there. We've just gone as is with all the power steering equipment, the steering box, the ram, the valve. It was all on a running driving car, so I figure we'll run it, and if anything proves to be leaky we can replace it, but we'll run with it all as is for the moment. Got a new front to rear steel brake line in place, and same across the rear. There's a new steel brake line down there. And we've got new stainless steel fuel lines running front to rear, so they're all very nice. And of course that's the new bracket for the removable cross member, because obviously this being a manual car had a welded in cross member, so that's now gone. All very, very good. We've gone with new trailing arms on the rear and new backing plates, and they've been built up with new rear wheel bearings and new spindles, so they're all as good as you can get. We've gone again with your original strut rod setup, because the bushes and everything were all absolutely like brand new. I nearly called you and said, do you want me to put smart struts on, but it's another 300 quid, and I don't know that you're really going to get that much benefit from them because of the kind of driving you're going to be doing. It's not like the transmission where swapping it now makes the most sense. Things like that can be done later if you decide you want to go that route. So there's a new rear spring on there. We went again with your original drive shafts because they'd all been redone with new UJs fairly recently, and they all felt good. So we run what we brung on that one. I had the diff rebuilt because I didn't have an awful lot of confidence in the place that did it last time. And figured we ought to have a look in there, and I think just as well we did. There was a bad bearing in there, and also my guy said there was way too much backlash in the diff. They couldn't get the teeth to run nicely on the ring and pinion and get the backlash correct. The upshot of that is when you put it in gear you would have had a massive thunk as it went into gear. So I took another diff that I had here into them to strip for parts, and they tried the ring and pinion out of that. That made no real difference, and they wound up changing the casing, so there was a problem with the original casing that was there, so we've put a second-hand casing on. I've also had them use the ring and pinion that was in the donor diff that I had, because it's a better ratio for the auto transmission. It's a 355 to 1 as opposed to a 336, which will just give you slightly higher RPM for cruising than the other one would, but it would make the engine labour a bit less, so it will be a nicer ratio. In fact, a 355 to 1 is the optimum ratio for a 700R4 auto transmission, so it's all worked out, absolutely for the best. So that's good. And you can have the casing and the pinion, the ring and pinion, with our blessing. What else? Yeah, new shock absorbers on the rear. Went with your fronts again, and you can see, I don't know, cast your mind back maybe to the god-awful brake line routing there was on there, and you can see that's now absolutely the proper route for these brake lines to go. We use the proper locking tabs on drive shafts. It's all very, very nice stuff. We use the proper fasteners everywhere. Really, really lovely. I hope you'll be pleased with it all. I mean, I know maybe a chassis isn't the thing that a lot of people are going to get particularly excited about, but I kind of like it, and I think it all looks excellent. You know, it's all very, very nice, and of course good for the next 50 years, we hope. Over here, I think I've already gotten this on tape, but that's the engine finish now. The only thing I've yet to do, obviously we've got different valve covers coming there. They're just laid on there just to keep the dust out of it at the moment. I mean, it's covered over anyway during the day, but just to keep inside there clean. But that looks very, very good. I've not put the bottom pulley on yet for two reasons. One, I have half a suspicion that is the wrong harmonic balancer on the engine. I want to look into that a bit more. I also need to get an add-on pulley for the power steering drive, and I need to get the numbers off the pulley that's there, so I haven't done that as yet, but I will do. I've got a new alternator to go on as well, and if I get a chance before you come, I'll whack that on in the morning so that you can see that all as is. But I mean, it looks really lovely. Once the aluminium valve cover's on there, that will really set that off a treat. The only other thing I've got to do is, once the engine is running and timed and we know exactly the position of the distributor, I can then shorten that plug wire so that it runs more in line with the others like that. You know, it's a little bit long, that one, but that's all very nice. We've put the proper plug wire shields on, and that's all very good. Those nice aluminium heads. Yeah, it's going to be a real doozy, that one, I think. Very nice. So that's all good. Done the manifolds with that Calyx manifold dressing, and obviously these will run once it's all run and, you know, everything's timed. We can trim these a little bit to length and make those look a little bit neater. I don't want to do that until we've set the timing on the engine, just in case we have to move the distributor more than I've got marked there. I think we're about there where it is now, but we may have to just fine tune it a fraction. I'll give you a quick whiz round. I've got a 66 coupe, big block coupe on the ramp there that we've been fitting rack and pinion power steering and a power brake conversion to, and a few other bits and pieces. Got my black 81 for sale, pace car that we've just done a few minor bits and pieces on. Another 78 that we've dropped the diff out of to replace the drive shaft yokes. Another 66 Roadster here. And then a 61 that's having an engine rebuild, and a 67 the body's gone back on, and a 77 that has had quite a lot of bits and pieces, chassis repairs and God knows what else. I've got your transmission down here. That's your 700R4 under there. Yeah, so all very exciting. As you can see, we're absolutely rammed as usual. So that's good, and there you go. One look at yours, and we'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully you'll be happy with what you see. I think the end result will make you happy, perhaps the invoice less so, but you can't have one without the other, sadly. So there you go. I'll get all this onto a disc for you tonight so you can take it and bore everyone over the Christmas period, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, David.